Clean, you're not allowed to say the word coal without proceeding by saying clean, beautiful coal. Clean, beautiful coal. It's not affected by bad weather. Rain, snow, sleet, freezing coal. How does it react under freezing cold weather?
It steps up and delivers big time. In fact, what coal did during this storm was deliver massively more electricity than it was delivering a month ago, because we needed far more electricity. Who can step up?
The windmills, by the way, are all frozen. You know that they don't turn. The windmills aren't turning. The windmills that these fools paid for. The fool is this country, because the people that have the windmills get massive subsidy, and they make a fortune on windmills that don't even work, and they don't produce anywhere near what they should be. And it's the worst, most expensive form of energy there is. And by the way, Europe is destroying itself with the stupid windmills they're putting all over their beautiful areas of most magnificent landscapes in the world, and they're just destroying. Europe, better get smart. Between immigration and energy, they're destroying. It's not recognizable. They've got to smarten up before it's too late. Please go ahead.
Yeah, in New England, with somewhat European energy policies, at peak demand time, very cold in New England, wind, solar, and batteries that you were just speaking of delivered less than 3% of the electricity needed at peak demand time, and that's when it matters. Because if electricity goes out when it's very cold, people die. Over 200 people died in a smaller cold snap during the Biden administration. This was massively larger geographically. We've had no failure of the electricity grid, no failure of long distance transmission lines. Local distribution lines have iced up and come down, and we have people from all over the country working to get those back up because people need their lights back on. But your energy policies delivered just a dramatically different outcome for the American people. If we'd continued the Biden-era policies for one more year, continued to shut down coal plants, continued these crazy climate restrictions that wouldn't even let power plants run at maximum demand time, we hadn't liberated all the backup generators that are sitting there. We gave up an emergency approval.
So a lot of those plants that were going to close, coal plants that were modern and good and threw up very little problem, and that were really powerful. You know, by the way, China does most of everything they're doing with coal. Not that we want to copy anybody, but you know, they make the windmills, but they don't have a lot of wind farms. That's somebody ought to look at that. How many wind farms do they have? Very few. They make them, they sell them, they make a fortune, but they don't use them. So the coal, I mean, I understand they're using it also as a great backup. So you build a plant, but they have it as a backup in case of tragedy, in case of really bad weather, et cetera, et cetera. They actually store coal on the site of other plants so that if they need emergency energy, the coal is always going to be there, whereas other things aren't. Is that correct?
Exactly. Coal just stepped up here to 25% of our electricity during this high demand time. Natural gas, coal, and nuclear. They are what run the American electricity grid. The others are ornaments and often expensive ornaments.
And you stopped plants from being demolished, right?
17 gigawatts of coal generation plants were slated to close last year that were stopped from being closure by this administration.
And if they were closed, we would be really tight on energy.
We would have had significant blackouts at these peak cold times, and extrapolating from the last storm during the Biden administration, I think at least hundreds of deaths. Because in the South, a lot of heating is done with electricity generation. If those grids go down, people die. So these, and when going back to the Working Families Tax Cut Act, or the One Big Beautiful Bill, that got rid of $500 billion of subsidies, energy subsidies, that do nothing but make energy more expensive and less reliable. And under this administration, we've spent massively less on energy, and we've delivered massively more on energy. And when you have more energy of lower prices.
It's a fantastic job. You and Doug. Doug said, you got to get this guy Doug. You got to get this guy Chris Wright and get him as soon as you can. I said, but I want you to run energy. He said, well, I'm good at it, but he's better, right? Didn't you tell me that? So I gave him the land, I gave you the energy, right? And it's a great combination. I mean, they literally have, I said, maybe we'll merge it in some way. They said, we don't have to. We get along. They work together, right, with the land. He's got the land and the energy. He's got the knowledge to take it out. It's been a good combination.
This administration, the whole administration, and your leadership has been very focused on energy, because we can push down energy prices.